What's up? What's up? Jason, Drew, how's it going, guys?
What's up,
Good.
Gabe?
How are you?
Doing absolutely amazing. I'm very excited today because I am kind of mentally getting prepared for a trip to Croatia where I'll actually be hanging out with Drew for a little bit. But yeah, I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Yeah, kind of same thing. Trying to figure out last minute plans, and I'm out in Chicago and realized I forgot my passport in Arizona. So had my buddy go over to my house and get it and overnight it to me. So that just got here today. So yeah, kind of feel a little bit better.
That's good, man. That's good.
What's going on in Croatia?
Yeah, so we had a retreat, as you probably saw, early April, and about a month ago today. And that retreat was co-hosted by one of myself, Joey, and Jack's closest mentors. Is a man named Jeremy Newsom. He's a prolific day trader, world-renowned speaker, hundreds of millions of dollars plus net worth individual. And we were close to him, and Jeremy actually offered, like, hey, like, if you guys want to do your first retreat, like, I'll host it. His mansion, he actually designed the bottom floor specifically for events. And so he let us use his house as an event space for the first retreat, which Drew and Tom were at. And he also he hosts retreats himself. And so he's hosting a retreat that's going to be on a yacht in Croatia for, I believe it's 7 days. And he invited myself and Joey out too. So we're gonna be heading out there. And he also invited Drew. Drew's heading on Mr. Newsom's retreat with us as well.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Big retreat, people, as you can probably tell. Yeah, I mean, we value the proximity like so heavily, right? That's what these groups are about, is getting in the room with people who, excuse me, and help sharpen you, people who have similar values. And I think the in-person is the most intense way to do that, right? Like the 3 days spending in person is like the equivalent of 3 months online, honestly. And I think Drew and Tom can attest to that, right?
yeah, 100%. Definitely much more intense.
Just like everything just squeezed in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why we do those. But guys, I'm on Kamal here. Sam, welcome, brother. Today,
I think this is Sam's first call.
yeah,
So,
welcome, Sam.
yeah.
Sam, let's go, man. I'm
Hey.
pumped you're here, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, heck yes, bro. We usually do two major things on this call, two kind of agenda points, and of course just open discussion. But two major agenda points are diving into actual training Q&A, right? We want to have this dedicated time to learn how to move our bodies efficiently, because you can technically eat really, really well and have perfectly designed programs, and you will lose weight. But if you don't train properly, even with a perfectly designed program, you won't actually build the body that you're capable of building, right? It's like I used an example the other week, giving somebody who, and asking them to sit down and play the piano, but they don't even know how to move their fingers, even though the sheet music is absolutely perfect, right? So we want to make sure that we know how to move our bodies in the gym so that we can actually build the muscle, build the strength, and get the highest return out of our time in the gym. So that's what we do here. The other thing we do is we share wins from throughout the week, and we make sure that we intentionally write down those wins on this call, because your wins written down become a Rolodex for you on test days. As I'm sure you already know, Sam, this is not about being a perfect robot. And you're going to have those hard days, and it's good to look back on your wins to keep your mind in a space where it's able to keep on going instead of falling off track. So since there's only a few of you guys here today, Jeff, what's up, man? We're going to start with our wins. We're going to put 2 minutes on the clock. Everybody take out pen, paper, if you have it, if you're able to write down safely and you're not in a car driving. And I'll give 2 minutes on the clock, and we'll write down your biggest win from this week. I want you guys to think hard about this one, write down your biggest win from this week, and then we'll share that. After that, we'll dive into the training lesson and Q&A. Starting the clock now.
Hey, Tom. We're just taking 1 or 2 minutes to write down our wins. Tom Ludden, welcome to the call.
Sounds good.
Got a minute 15 left. Guys, this is your one biggest win. I want to make sure, like, when we do this on these training call, we write down our one biggest win, because I want this to be really focused on a big win, because the point of these wins, this journaling exercise itself, is to have a Rolodex, right? The Rolodex, we're gonna be able to read one big win, and I want it to have an emotional kind of reaction in us when we're in that down spot. So not just anything, right? Not just like woke up today, right? But something that you accomplished that you think when you look back on this on a down day, you're gonna be like, damn, like I am the man. I'm capable of doing whatever I put my mind to. So really think hard about your biggest win. Got 20 seconds left.
The Diet Coke.
Team Diet Coke always.
I freaking love Diet Coke so much.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Coke Zero guy.
Coke Zero's good
Sorry.
too. Coke Zero's good too.
I heard somewhere that it's the exact same recipe, but Coke Zero is just marketed towards women, or the other way around.
Oh,
I can't remember.
nice.
I don't
I
Me
know.
don't
and,
know
me and
about that.
Drew are we falling for that feminine marketing. So
Yeah, there you go. It's that soft side, yeah.
Yeah, that wholesome side, that wholesome energy, right?
Yeah.
Killer instinct and the wholesome instinct. Oh man. All right, guys. Let's go around. I'll kick us off. Biggest win from this past week was taking the fiance on a spontaneous vacation. That was a huge win in so many ways for our relationship. And honestly, just a win for me, and being able to prove to myself that I can be really spontaneous and surprise her. So taking the fiance on a spontaneous vacation, big win.
I got one I can share.
Yes, please.
My one was today. So I've been trying to go to jujitsu more during lunch because it's a little bit easier. My wife gets home from work. I don't want to hang out with baby, and I work from home, so it's convenient. But I really the hard thing is the day classes are always the advanced classes, which I'm like, I can go to. My professor wants me to go to, but it's like, it sucks, dude. Like, you just get your butt kicked for like half an hour and stuff. And so I really didn't want to go today. Like I said I would, but I was like, I was thinking of every excuse not to. And I just told myself,
Yeah.
I'm just going to get outside the door. Because I know if I get outside the door, I'm going to go, right? I'm not going to think about like actually going. I'm just going to think at 11:45, I'm stepping out the door. And that's what I did. Went to jujitsu today. It was amazing. Got a few subs on some guys who were more experienced than me. Got
Nice.
guillotined like 3 times as well. So took my lumps, but really, and it's just like anything else, like any hard thing. You never want to do it, but after you do it, you feel amazing, right? I got amazing workout in. It's a great thing to do in the middle of the day, and I got a little bit better. So that's my win.
Dude, that's amazing, bro. I love that win. Any jujitsu related win is always awesome. And then also just like obviously the mental win of taking that first step and heading the workout that you're committed to, right? Great win, brother. Thank you for sharing. Tom Luden, what about you, my friend?
There it goes, unmute. Well, I haven't quite done it, but I'm not sure I'll be here next week. So as of right now, since I started the program, I have 1,995,000 odd steps. So sometime today, it'll be 2 million steps.
Wow.
So I think that's a lot, and sort of, I mean, it makes sense if you just keep doing it every day, but that's a big number, I think, and a big accomplishment. I think less quantifiably, but I would say like in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, I feel like I've really started to kind of broke through a plateau with my lifting, and am, obviously still far away from something like you, but for me, I've just sort of broken through and feel like I'm really moving a lot more weight.
Mhm.
And I think that's taken, 4 and 5, whatever, how long it's been.
Mhm.
the better part of 5 months or so, whatever it's been, to like get a base in, keep working, make little bitty progress, little bitty progress, little bitty progress. So now I see that there's been a big change. So I think that's good. It's noticeable to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like there's obviously the really big noticeable things like your weight, right? Your clothes fitting, the weights going up in the gym. That's super tangible, super quantifiable. But it's cool to see also that the tiniest increment of things that we can measure and qualify, which is our steps, have added up to that massive number two, right? Because when you think, would your body change? We don't really know, but we see the proof in the pudding here, right? 2 million steps over the course of, I believe it's been 6 or 7 months ish. No, November 6th is when he started.
That's right. So I mean, yeah, roughly 6 months, because it's like 25-ish weeks right now.
Right. Yeah. So you're talking about 333,000 steps per month ish, divided by 30.
I just did the math. He's averaging 11.5K steps a day. That's insane.
Yeah. That's the number I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's actually, that's right here on the specific average is 11,267. So
that's awesome, man.
That's awesome. That in itself, somebody, we do challenges in this community that are, let's see if we can average 10,000 steps a day, right? That's a challenge in this community, a group of men who are already focused on their health and fitness, and a group of men who are already like, there's so much status in hitting a step count in this community, right? And you do that, you've done that for 6 months straight. You've exceeded that for 6 months straight. So that's absolutely, I think, a huge accomplishment, a testament to your consistency. It's showing in the results. And yeah, I don't want to underestimate how impressive that is. 11,000 plus steps a day for 6 months. Keep that up for the rest of your life, and you're going to be in an amazing spot. Even if you don't keep that up for the rest of your life and you go below that, you're still in an amazing spot, right? American average is about 3,500 a day. And the American average in terms of health is where we all know it is. So really good.
I mean, stuff. That's a definite definition of default action, right? Changing your default actions. That's crazy. That's awesome, man.
That's awesome. I love it. Great stuff, Tom. Thank you for sharing. Jason, biggest win this week, man.
Yeah, actually mine may have happened today too. I woke up, I didn't sleep well, kind of felt like shit. And normally I think I would just be like, you know what, just blow the workout off, start fresh, different day. But I'm like, you know what? Same thing. Like I told myself at 2:00, regardless, just get down there and get moving. And I knocked it out. And I don't know if I would have done that before. So I think, a lot of these little principles being put into place. I mean, really, it just like the accountability factor goes a long way. So I think that, and then, I've been trying to do a little more community service. And so donating some time at the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. And so that was another win for me. I went yesterday, and, just trying to maintain some consistency, trying to give back, help others. So those are the two things that come to mind.
That's awesome. It's crazy how when you just spend a few weeks pouring into yourself, you automatically have this urge to start pouring more into others. Right?
True.
Like we talk a lot about with guys when they start about how their family and their loved ones are going to benefit. And the first connection is like, yeah, of course, because I'm going to be healthier. Like I'll be there for them longer, and I'll have more energy to like be present with them and participate in activities with them. But what they don't understand is that you literally become a more positive, more love-giving person, right? Like I get texts from my dad now that are just out of this world, encouraging just for no reason whatsoever. He'll wake up on a random Tuesday and be like, son, you were the greatest in the world. You can do whatever you put your mind to, right? And those are extremely encouraging. And I never got messages like that or encouragement like that when he wasn't even capable of encouraging himself, right? You can't give what you don't have. It sounds like it'd be pretty easy to give somebody $100, but try giving somebody $100 if you only have 50. It's impossible, right? So try giving somebody positivity, try giving somebody encouragement. If you don't have that positivity and self-encouragement yourself, it's impossible. Try giving somebody love and respect if you don't even have that for yourself. Actually impossible. Right.
Good
So
point.
I love seeing that. I love seeing that, man. That's a really, really good win. And then getting to the gym when you don't feel like it, right? Like I know you're still early in this program, but you're going to start to see that happen more and more often, right? Because we'll have test days continually. Those never go away. And every single one of those test days is just proof to your subconscious mind that you have done something that reinforces your identity, which makes your identity stronger, which makes it even easier, and that compounds and it never gets harder. So good stuff, man. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Drew, I know you're muted, so if you're busy, that's cool. But if you got a win, shout it out. Cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I was like I said, I'm in Chicago now, so I drive out here a couple times a year to visit family for a few weeks and all that. So yeah, it was a win. Just typically on that drive, I kind of started calculating it because got nothing better to do on a 25-hour drive, but just how many calories I would typically eat on that drive, just snacking basically the entire way. And yeah, I came up with like probably like 3 days worth of calories in that 26 hours. And yeah, this time just, I felt really good about just like, I brought a bunch of like berries and just, chicken salad that I made with like Greek yogurt and stuff. And just, had just felt so much better the whole time as well. Stayed, more alert. I just felt good overall. I also just been, really tested since getting here because, I get here and start hanging out with family and, dinners and stuff like that. But
Chicago pizza.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so making good choices there. And, same thing, similar to like the workouts, like yesterday, didn't, worked all day and then, went out with family all night. And then, ended up at the gym at like 10:30 at night, trying to get that mile run in and get my workout in. So it's, definitely those default actions kick in for sure.
That is amazing, dude. I love that. A really good test for me, Drew. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's cool to see this in a really big challenge. Like, excuse me, like driving 25, 26 hours to Chicago from Arizona. That's like a hurdle for anyone, right? Like even me, like I have to consciously say, okay, like what am I going to do? Let's do this and this, right? To stay on track. So being able to see your default actions kick in an extremely challenging circumstance, that's where it really counts, right? It's way, way, way easier when you're just in the day-to-day, when you know what your breakfast is going to be, right? Protein shake right there, boom, done. You got your lunch, right? Throw it in, it's meal prep, whatever, done. Dinner, whatever. No one asked me to go out. Cool, awesome, beautiful. But when it's 26 hours on the road, that's where it gets hard, right?
Yep.
That's where you're presented with a situation where I know for me, I totally understand how eating out on the go, how traveling makes it hard to stay on track. Because even for me, if I'm really hungry, right? I remember I went to a concert with my brother once in Tampa. Tampa's about an hour and a half away from Orlando. And I drove back that same night and I was starving. I hadn't eaten dinner. And so I stopped at a gas station at maybe 11:30 at night. And I'm looking around the gas station like, dude, like there's nothing. Like, what do I do? Like, I was like stumped. I was like, crap. No protein bars, no protein shakes, no this, no that. And I eventually found like these disgusting, like prepackaged hard-boiled eggs like in the corner of one of the freezer, like I was just like, oh gosh. Right. But I got it. That time sucked. Right.
Yeah.
But it also proved to me that there are always options. I could
Right.
have also just not eaten if I was really that disgusted. So it couldn't have been that gross. But yeah, like I get it. And the fact that you're able to overcome that exact situation, which I believe is one of the hardest, is awesome too. Really good stuff. Huge win. Cool, man. Cool, man. Love it. These wins always hype me up. Jeff, how about you, my friend?
I think my big thing this week was planning out my meals for the week. So I've even gone to the point of like entering them into MyFitnessPal already, which normally I kind of knew what I was going to eat. I would have an idea, but there'd always be some sort of little slip or I'd grab a snack. But I've really planned them out with some room to add or subtract where I needed. That's helped me. And then on top of doing that, I prepped. So I posted a bunch of food on Sunday that I was prepping, and that kind of solidified just that I knew what I was going to eat for the week, and it made me more confident that I was going to be able to hit those goals and whatnot. So I think that was a win for me. The other added bonus I didn't even think of is my wife tends to get frustrated with me cooking steak like every lunch in the house,
Me too.
and doing it all in one day, all the food in one day is like no more mess for her to worry about me cleaning up or leaving little things behind. So she was happy too. So that was a bonus win.
That's huge, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Yeah, me too. I don't have a grill. I live in a townhouse. And so I cook my steaks right on the cast iron. Like, yeah, fire alarms going off. Just, every time it happens, right? My fiance is the same way. She'll come home from work like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like steak, right? Like you got to figure out a way to control that. I'm like, okay, I'll try.
Just smells like
I
meat
try,
for hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly too. And I try and I try and I try. I'm like, babe, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. This just comes with it. All right. There's just gonna be smoke. I tried reconditioning the pan, all this stuff. But that's a big one. I love that, right? One of the like weirdest, or not weirdest, but most unexpected benefits of meal prep is that convenient cleanup wise, right? Like people don't realize every time you cook, you also have to clean, right? And you can cook one time and clean one time instead of just destroying the kitchen every single night. So, dude,
Yeah.
great win. I love that. I've employed that strategy as well, planning out the entire week of meals, and of course, giving yourself that grace for when things fit in or don't, but having that peace of mind and just certainty of what's going to happen.
Yep.
Good stuff,
Thanks.
man. Good stuff. Yeah, the beauty of tracking, this is just another side note on tracking, but beauty of tracking is that it gives you flexibility, right? But oftentimes, sometimes like people literally have more peace of mind when there's less flexibility. So you want a degree of flexibility so that you're not stressed out when something doesn't fit. But if you enjoy your meals already, like you found your kind of core meals that you enjoy, right? I'm assuming, Jeff, like you've already done that at this point, right? You're like, this is the lunch that I really like. I'm never going to not want to have it. And it fits within my nutrition goals. I can eat this like every day this week and be totally happy. I won't need flexibility. Then you can plan those out and plug them in already. And that decision is automatically removed from your week, right? So good stuff, man. I love that. Great teaching moment for everybody too. Sam, first training tactics call. What is your biggest win from this past week?
Well, starting the program. That's a big win.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tracked my food in a long time. So yesterday I was kind of with a disappointing realization of what 1,500 calories is. It's like not as much as I thought. But yeah, just happy to be here and get started.
Dude, awesome. That's a huge win because obviously, like, I'm going to say that, right? This is my company. I'm your coach. Yay, good job, Joey. Welcome. Woo. But that is a huge commitment to yourself, right? It's obviously not cheap joining this program. So just on the financial commitment, on the psychological commitment of you taking that action, right? That in itself is a huge win that supports your identity. And that's what I try to tell everybody who joins is like, people who aren't about it, don't join, right? Like the reason that most people don't join who hop on a call with us is actually not if they can't afford it. That's not the biggest reason. There are so many people who money is no object to them who don't join because they're not willing to take ownership of their actions and admit that they need help and that they're capable of getting better, right? I remember I hopped on a call with somebody who I'm not going to name him, but he actually joined. And money was not a problem for him whatsoever. And I thought that he was an absolutely perfect fit. Like I had the certainty, like, dude, like this could absolutely help you. This is going to benefit you and your family and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he continued to find every single reason about why he couldn't join, right? Like he was sending me specific lines from this part of our website. Like, what is it? I'm like, okay. And I told him straight up, dude, look, man, I don't think you're going to be a good fit because the one requirement for every single person who joins is that they're willing to take ownership, and you haven't done that once. And so I told him, look, I actually don't think you should join the team. And I do think that you should start practicing taking some ownership over your health and fitness because that's going to benefit you most whether you join us or not. And and when he heard that, he was like, Gabe, you're right. Okay. And then he joined. But you've already done that. You've shown that you take ownership. You've shown that you're committed. You've done this for yourself. You've done this for your family. And that in itself is a massive win, not even to mention all the crazy, amazing wins you're going to find over the next 12 weeks. One of them being figuring out ways to make those 1,500 calories a lot more filling and more satisfying. Which, a lot of the veterans already kind of know. But dude, welcome to the team, man.
Thank you.
Heck yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Mr. Tom, Big Tom. You got a smile on your face like I haven't seen before, man. Look like
I
you're doing
do. How's it going, guys?
good.
So I remember from our first step challenge, I guess it was a month or two ago that you guys had put up. Remember getting 30K steps in that one day and how it was kind of a pain trying to get that. And for Alex's challenge this week, got 35 in yesterday, and it was so much easier to get that done than the first time doing it. So that was a big win for the week.
When you say pain, do you mean physical pain or like just mental hurdle?
I guess more mental hurdle. Yeah. I mean, yeah, a bit tiring too. I was also vaping a lot more then.
Yeah.
I guess I'd never keep track of how many days I've stopped, but I guess it's been almost a week now without vape. So happy with that.
Good stuff.
So man, barbecue with some friends on Sunday. You know, they're all drinking, smoking, but nothing, just food for me. So happy with that one as well.
Dude, great job. Great job. Something to be massively proud of. I want to point out a win for you that I saw that I don't think you ever brought up to one of these calls. Win for you that I witnessed personally was at the retreat in Nashville, where in Nashville, like especially you guys all know we're all about 80-20 sustainability. Like we have a few drinks ourselves, right? When the time calls for it. And if over drinking is a default action, that's obviously a separate case to somebody who doesn't over drink, right? Because you need to essentially limit that quite more than somebody who doesn't have that problem, or completely cut it out. That's a separate case. And I remember one of the nights we were all sitting around the table and we're talking about, going out to the honky tonk, right? We were in Nashville and we're kind of joking around and we're like, yeah, man. And a few of the guys were kind of planning, they're getting their Uber and they're going out. And I remember sitting there, right? And I was looking at Tom and I can see Tom, almost having that conversation, almost bargaining with, like, I don't really want to go. And like, I don't want to go. Like, maybe I will. I won't have anything to drink though. Right. And I can't remember exactly how it happened, but Tom ended up deciding like, guys, you guys have the time of your lives. I'm not going. Right. And that was huge. That was huge. That was one of the moments of the entire retreat that I was most proud of, was seeing you make that decision, right? Seeing you have the identity that even in a group of amazing guys who obviously all these guys have your best interest in mind, 100%. They love you more than anything, right? And they would never pressure you to do anything you don't want to do. Even there, you're able to say, guys, like, I need to take this time for myself. I need to separate myself. That was a huge win, man. So I want to give you congrats for that, for repeating that again over the course of this weekend. And dude, just for continuing to kill it every single day.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Heck yeah. Yeah, me and Joey noticed that big time, dude. We were so pumped for you, brother. Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So we've done Sam, Jason, Jeff, Tom, Vinny, and Judah. Vinny, what's up, man? Take us away with this biggest this week. Other than the mustache looking amazing.
Thank you. My girlfriend's not a fan. She said I look like a pedo, but
That's just there for the boys.
Right? Yes, for the boys. She doesn't get it. My biggest win, I would say, is yesterday I swam 2,000 yards nonstop, which is basically what I'm gonna have to do for the race. Is like 2,100. So we're pretty much there, and my time was good, and I was able to do it. Felt like I could do another 1,000 after.
Dude, that's awesome. That's huge. 2,000 yards swimming. I'm just kind of trying to do like the mental math in my head so I can conceptualize.
It was like that. 80 pool lengths. Think about it that way.
Wow.
80 times back and forth. Yeah.
That's insane, dude. That's insane. That's a huge win. You can probably like swim from freaking Florida to Cuba at this point.
Could swim across the Delaware Bay, get to New Jersey quicker.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's insane, brother. Dude, huge win. When is your race again?
June 10th.
June 10th. Okay.
Road tripping out to Colorado.
Okay. So you got, a month and change here. Feeling good coming up to this race?
I am. Yeah. I did the other day I did like 52 miles on the bike. I got to do 56 on the race day. That took 4 hours. So
pretty much like right where I need to be. I just want to finish the race. Like that's, you know, not going for any times or anything, just make the cutoff times. You have like 8.5 hours, I believe, to complete it.
Yeah. What's your estimated, like, just based on your training, how long do you think it'll take you to finish?
I would say probably like the 8 hours, because I'm figuring the swim I could do in, you know, an hour would give me like a little cushion, bike maybe 4 hours, run 3 hours. I would say that's like a safe bet. Hopefully we get a little faster.
Yeah. I want to challenge you to socially commit to an even faster time than the safe bet. The reason I want to do this is because I'm really close friends with somebody who you had another conversation with in the last week or so. And I think that I'm going to take something out of his book and challenge you even more, because I think you're capable of even more than you believe. And I don't think Vinny is the type of guy who just plays safe bets. So with that in mind, what is the aggressive time that scares you to say out loud in front of the team here that literally makes you shit yourself and think, I don't think I can do that? What's that time?
Let's say, I'm going to say 7 hours. If I could finish in 7 hours, that would be like records for everything all around.
Okay. Beautiful. I love that. 7 hours. So go ahead, make your social commitment.
All right. I'm gonna finish this Ironman race in 7 hours.
Heck yeah. Beautiful.
You got your phone? Got your phone near you?
There you go. There you go.
Write it down.
Another great way. We actually used to make everybody who joined the program do this as a social commitment, but then we added the Slack channel, is you can tweet out your social commitment. The internet just has that weird permanence to it, right? That sense that anybody can see it, right? That sense that the person who might be swimming next to you might have seen that tweet. So that might be another good way to social commit. But I love it, dude. 7 hours, aggressive goal. And I think, dude, just know that when you're in the middle of that race, every single guy who is on this call is going to be thinking about you. June 10th, right?
Yep.
June 10th, 7 hour time. Let's freaking do it. Heck yeah. Awesome. And then Judah, even able to share window if you are. Go ahead and unmute my man.
Hey, Gabe. Yeah, mine might seem a little ironic. I ate an entire pint of ice cream at 990 calories, and I didn't actually feel guilty.
Explain that to me.
I used to always, if I messed something up or had something I didn't plan, I'd feel extremely guilty. I've been doing really good. That whole 80-20 thing, I've been keeping it about 95-5 or better for a while now. And a lot of stuff going on in my life. I got really stressed out, and we had this reefer trailer full of ice cream that got a hole in it. So it was free ice cream for everyone. So I grabbed a pint and I ate it, and I just adjusted my calories the rest of the day, and I'm still going to stay under goal, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Before, I would have beat myself up. I tried to like fast for a long time or something, but instead I'm just staying under goal, and it was good ice cream.
Dude, that's amazing, bro. That's a huge win. That ice cream was probably good, right? Like you said, that's good ice cream. But I love
it was Haagen-Dazs. We got an entire tractor trailer load of it for free to take home now.
There you go. I think the win there is that like you figured out how to, manage your calories. Obviously amazing, right? Good job on paper. The win is your psychological reaction to that, negative default action, so to speak, right? Like one of the number one things that throws people off track is when their actions become evidence to their mind that they are not the person who they say they are, right? That's what shame is, right? Like if I heard this message, I can't remember if it was a sermon or Bible study over this past week, but somebody said that your sin makes you run from God because you're ashamed, right? It's this negative downward slope. It's this slippery slope, right? The worse you act, the harder, the more you're likely to act worse, right? And so when you have this sin and you run towards God, that's great, right? Because it shows the posture of your heart. It shows that you have this direction and this desire and you're moving forward, even though you kind of tripped up and felt a little bit off the track. But the fact that you didn't have that shame after eating the ice cream, you didn't have that guilt, you're like, oh, okay, I just did this. How can I get back on track? Is huge, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is I just a few months ago, if that had happened, I would have started questioning, who I was and what I
Yes.
could do. And instead I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. It was a one-time thing. I know it's a one-time thing, I've been working out every day. I've been training for a freaking marathon and my body composition is changing drastically every week. And that's just, some nice ice cream one day and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's because you have that certainty in your identity. And that's why your identity is so important. And the consistent psychological tools that we teach with the journaling, right? And stuff like that, that builds certainty into your identity. But the other thing that builds certainty into your identity is this track record of consistency, right? A track record of consistency. I'll give you an example. I was at jiu-jitsu last week, and at my jiu-jitsu gym, there's a 15-year-old kid who's like a jiu-jitsu phenom, right? Like he's been doing it since he was like a little kid. Like he's probably one of the best jiu-jitsu like 15-year-olds like in the country, honestly. And when I first like got to the gym, he knew way more than me. He used to kill me, right? Like he'd been training since he was a little kid. But once I understood like just basically the basics, I'm way, way stronger than him because I'm 23 years old and he's 15. And so I start beating him, right? I'm like, okay, cool. I can handle Mateus. Cool. Whatever. 15-year-old can't kill me. Awesome. I'll beat him. And then I'm like, wait, this kid's 15. Whatever. Anyway, Mateus, the other night, I did a round with him. I submitted him. And then we did another round and he submitted me. He caught me with something. And there was no like, oh, he got me. Like, dang, I suck feeling. There was no like disappointment. There was no shame. But the only reason there was no shame or confusion was because there was a track record of me beating him. Right? I was like, no, that's cool. He won that battle, but I know I'm better. That's fine. I don't have to go cry about a 15-year-old beating me at jiu-jitsu. But the point here is that when you have a track record of you winning these battles, the lost battles don't hurt as much. Right? When you have a track record of winning, the losses feel way less significant. When you have a track record of winning, the losses don't make you question who you are, what you do. They don't make you question your identity. You have so much certainty in your identity that you approach the next battle with full speed ahead with confidence. Right? So that's why it's important to, especially when you have very easy battles, double down on all the tactics that you've learned. Double down on your default actions. Double down on your journaling. Use this community for accountability, even if it's just asking for a prayer in the faith channel or posting a win in the wins channel, right? Even if your win is just, I'm asking for help from the guys, hype me up, right? Even if it's just that, or hitting up the chat and asking for somebody to keep you accountable or making a social commitment. Double down on those things, because if you can leverage all the tools in your tool belt, you'll win the easy battles easily. You'll build a track record of wins. And then when a really hard battle comes, whether you win or lose, you might win, but even if you lose, you have a track record and you can keep going. All right. Great stuff, Judah. Thank you, man. Thank you for being an inspiration to every single other person in this freaking group. Carlos, what's up, man? I saw you joined here. Do you have a win from this past week that you'd like to share? If you can't share, totally cool. We'll go into the training Q&A, but if you do, awesome. There you go.
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, Gabe?
Good, man. You?
Really good, man. How's everyone doing? Win from this week. I hate to bring up my business again, but we're going through a lot of changes, a lot of happening. So my win for this week is we just locked up a new location in a really popular area, in a different town, Westport, Connecticut. So that will be my win this week.
That's huge, man.
That's
Thanks, huge.
Man. I feel like I signed my life away, but I'm good.
That's what business feels like sometimes, right?
Yeah, man, for sure.
That's great, man.
Thanks, man.
That's a huge win, dude. Another location, just continue to expand the business, expand the way that you provide for your family, man. That location is huge because it's going to be something that everybody around you can look back on and just thank you for.
Yeah, trying real hard, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Great win. Appreciate you sharing. Some
Thanks.
people are trying to start a business. This man's out here opening another location of his freaking business. Let's go. I love it, man. All right, guys. Let's get into the training lesson for today. It's going to be pretty quick since we had so many freaking awesome wins. And then we'll do Q&A about this lesson or anything that is going on throughout your workouts over the past week that you need some clarity on. So the lesson for today is how genetics affect your body composition, right? A common kind of idea that you'll hear us teach, especially in the beginning, is genetics aren't what's going to determine whether you lose weight or gain weight. That's 100% true. Okay, that's 100% fact. Genetics aren't going to be what determines your body transformation. 100% true. But it's important to know that, especially when you're talking about scientific ideas, that something that's true might not be 100% accurate, right? Like I can say genetics won't hold you back from losing weight. Everybody, even with the worst genetics in the world, can lose weight. But it is also true that there are certain things that, if you're aware of, can empower you, but there are certain things that can make it more difficult for some people to lose weight and easier for others to lose weight. I want you to be aware of those things, okay? Especially when it comes to building muscle. There are three main muscle building, they're the three main ways that genetics can change the way that you build muscle. That's important to be aware of, okay? That your genetics are going to affect your ability to build muscle is going to be in the shape of your muscle bellies. Okay, when I say muscle bellies, that's just the actual muscle itself. Like when I say bicep, like the bicep, that's the muscle belly. Okay, different people with different genetics are going to have different shaped muscle bellies. One way you can think of this is if you look at, this is always a hilarious example that I always used. If you look at Jack's biceps, right? Look for any picture of Jack's biceps themselves, if you were to take a tape measure around his biceps and measure the actual size of them, they're about the same size as mine. Mine might even be a little bit bigger when you measure around the arm. But Jack's biceps, when flexed, look so much bigger because of the different shape of the muscle belly. Okay, his muscle belly is very, very short and there's a long tendon. And so there's a huge peak at the top of that bicep. Okay, that can happen for certain people. And that's something that I like to be aware of myself, because I know my biceps specifically have always been a lagging point in my physique. And I'm always like, man, like, am I doing something wrong? Right? Like I'm doing all the exercises with perfect form, progressive overload, training harder than all these guys. I'm actually stronger than a lot of guys who have bigger biceps than me, but they just appear bigger because of a different muscle belly shape. Okay, so just be aware of that. If you have a lagging muscle group or something that's lagging compared to somebody else, that might just mean that genetically your muscle bellies are shaped slightly differently and your muscles will protrude in a different way than theirs. And that's okay. The second thing is going to be genetics can affect your androgenic response. Your androgenic response is a fancy word for saying your ability to build muscle in general. Okay. I want you to think about in high school when you saw that kid who may have been on the football team or wrestling team, and this kid might have even been you. But when you saw that kid who was he looked like he was 25 years old in 7th grade, right? The classic full beard in 7th grade. What are they feeding that kid? That kid is definitely not like 12 years old or whatever, right? Like you guys know the movie, I can't remember what it's called, but there's like an old, like Dominican baseball player playing against like 12-year-olds. And they're like, where's your birth certificate? And he shows them a birth certificate. And it's just like a penciled in like I am 35 or so, or I am 12 on like a piece of paper. Right? Like that kid, we're like, how's that kid that old? How's that kid 12 years old, right? He looks like a grown man. People like that, and that again might have been you, tend to have genetics that are more favorable towards building muscle and other masculine features in general, right? Growing facial hair, things like that. That is your androgenic response. What that means is literally, if you have a higher androgenic response compared to somebody else, you guys can be doing the same amount of work, but you recover and grow muscle faster than person with a lower androgenic response. Okay. Oftentimes as well, people who are extremely skinny growing up, you guys all know the kid who you're like, that kid is pencil thin, right? Not muscular, but he's actually like, he looks like he can get blown over in the wind. People like that typically have a lower androgenic response. Same work, same effort, same nutrition, harder for them to gain muscle. Okay. The last major way that your genetics are going to affect your ability to gain muscle is actually going to be in your skeletal structure. Okay, your skeletal structure. What I mean by this is literally the shape of your bones and the length of your tendons and ligaments. Okay, the shape of your bones and the length of your tendons and ligaments. An example that I will give to you guys here. Let's see if I can, or Jacob, can you make me the host, brother?
Done.
Okay. One sec here. Take care, Sam. Thanks for joining, bro. Example I'm going to give you here is, let's see, length of your tegment ligaments. Kevin Durant. Oh, Kevin Durant. Okay, my computer is being weird. Calves. Kevin Durant calf. Let's see if we get a picture. If you look at somebody like Kevin Durant, this is actually common for quite a lot of basketball players. Okay, I'm not getting a good image. Well, okay, here we go. If you look at Kevin Durant, his calves look pencil thin. Okay, absolutely pencil thin. And that's not just because of the sheer size of this muscle itself, but a lot of it has to do with the length of his Achilles tendon. Okay, Kevin Durant and lots of basketball players in general have very long Achilles tendons. It's also just happens to be that longer Achilles tendons tend to make you more naturally able to jump and sprint. So a lot of athletes have what looks like really small calves. And because this Achilles tendon is so long, his muscle ability is literally shorter and it attaches higher and it makes it look smaller overall. Okay. Versus somebody like, let me see if I can find an example. Coach Eugene Theo calves versus somebody like this. Okay. This is just somebody who puts out a lot of great information on Instagram. If you see these calves, they're obviously massive, but look at the length of this tendon. It's very short. It doesn't go all the way up here like Kevin Durant's. And so that muscle can be technically longer and appear bigger. Okay. Do we see how, and your genetics are what's going to determine your tendon length? Okay. Are we seeing that, guys? How tendon lengths can be different and that affects how your muscles look? Beautiful. Beautiful. Another really good example is going to be just your overall bone structure, right? So some people are literally going to have wider shoulder girdles, like a wider, longer clavicles up top here. And when you have a wider clavicle, your chest and your shoulders are already going to look broader just naturally with less muscle, right? Everybody's building their shoulders and their side delts and their chest to have this broad shoulder look. Some people already have a wider shoulder girdle than you with less muscle because their bones literally extend out further, right? So that's something to consider as well. So those are the main ways that's going to affect your ability to build muscle. This information is applied to you for one reason and one reason specifically. It's because genetics will affect how your body transformed, but it's important to know that your body not transforming the same way somebody else's does has, as long as you're doing the right things and putting in enough effort, probably has less to do with you doing the right things and putting in the right effort. Okay. Again, as long as you actually have the plan and you're being integrous and you're being consistent, which all of you guys are, right? It's not that this person just somehow works drastically harder than you in most cases, or they know something you don't know. It might just be the card you're dealt. And the only solution to that is better consistency and better nutrition and harder training. Okay. Literally. The empowering part of this is that the way to overcome your muscle belly structure, okay, your androgenic response, your bone structure is better, harder, more consistent training, right? Like the way for me to make my biceps look bigger, regardless of how the tendon inserts and how they don't have really a peak, bigger muscles always look better, no matter what their structure looks like. Okay, so that's the empowering factor, is that you can change this at your own level by training more consistently, harder, and better. Okay, Tom, I see that you asked a question here. What about muscle fibers ratio of slow twitch to fast twitch? This is an absolutely great question. So your genetics in terms of the actual distribution of muscle fibers are absolutely, like, they can play a role in what ratio of slow twitch to fast twitch do you have. But just like all of this, your training is going to play a bigger role than your genetics, right? So let's say, for example, somebody who doesn't jump high naturally, your ability to train slow twitch or fast twitch muscle fibers is going to have a bigger impact than whether you're genetically, you have a distribution of slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers. The example that I'll give to you is when I played volleyball, a lot of the kids who played volleyball with me had the kind of physiques that you would associate with slow twitch muscle fibers, right? So they weren't very muscular. Okay. They didn't look extremely athletic. There are a lot of tall, lanky kids, right? And probably genetically, they had a distribution of slower twitch muscle fibers as compared to somebody like me, who was a little bit more stocky, a little bit more athletic looking, right? I kind of look like I jump high just naturally, right? But I've seen so many kids who have slower twitch muscle fiber distributions, who probably have the marathon runner physique, jump absolutely out of the gym and just levitate. And you're looking at them thinking, like, how is that even possible? Right. And a lot of that has to do with the actual training that they do. So your training is going to either make your fast twitch muscle fibers faster or your slow twitch muscle fibers faster. But absolutely that can affect it. Great question, Tom. Last thing here is your genetics can affect your leptin and ghrelin responses. Okay, so we know leptin as the I'm full hormone, right? Leptin is the hormone that's secreted when protein hits your gut. It's the hormone that your brain secretes when your gut is full, when it's distended, right? Literally when your actual stomach gets full of food, that hormone is secreted. When protein is recognized in your gut, that hormone is secreted. And some people are going to have a leptin response faster than others. The example I'll give to you is this. Have you guys ever seen the families where every single member of the family is thin as a twig, right? I had a friend when I played volleyball in high school who he was thin as a twig, and he was probably 130 pounds at like 6'1". His dad was maybe 140 pounds at 6'1". His mom was like 100 pounds at like 5'7" or something, right? Every single member of this family is thin as a twig. And it's thin in a way that it's not just what they eat, but it's that they don't have the desire to eat as much as other people, right? They have a faster leptin response than most people genetically. And that obviously shows up in the body composition of every single member of their family. Now, if you take a family who every single member is overweight, you guys have seen these families too, right? Obviously their environment, their food choice, 100% plays a massive factor, right? But you guys know these people who they can just eat. Like, it seems like they could eat a horse, and their brother can eat a horse, and their dad can eat a horse, right? Those families might have a bigger ghrelin response. They might feel hungrier for longer. That's absolutely something that can happen. I actually believe that my family in general has this higher ghrelin response than the average individual, right? Like, I'm the type of guy who legitimately, like, I can eat anything. It's hard to make myself full, which is why I work so hard to try to figure out all these like satiating solutions, right? Like, that's so important to me, because if I don't intentionally satiate myself, my ghrelin is just going. I can eat all day, every day, right? That's a struggle for me, right? It's the same with all my brothers, right? Same with all my father, my uncles, which kind of shows why that absolutely played a factor in them overeating, right? Developing diabetes, right? That's absolutely a factor. It's just their ghrelin response being higher than the average individual. So I'm sharing all this with you because I want you to know that your genetics do play a role in your ability to transform your body. But when you become aware of this, you can focus on certain tools, right? Like, I know I'm a big eater naturally. So I focus on making sure I stay satiated with, my Diet Cokes, with my sparkling waters. I'm making sure I always have frozen fruit on deck, because I know that I'm going to be hungrier than the average individual, and I'm going to want to eat more. So I want to naturally satiate myself, right? So keep that stuff in mind, guys. Do you guys have any questions on genetics and how they affect your ability to build muscle or your ability to lose fat? Beautiful. Awesome. Guys, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Genetics absolutely play a role in everything that we do, guys. There's this story that I tell about how when I was, I believe 18 or 19, my dad told me that we are cursed, that we have a curse, right? Our family is cursed. He was referring to our family being cursed with this curse of diabetes because every single person in the family had diabetes. Now, obviously, we're not cursed with diabetes, right? But there probably is some sort of genetic component in our family where there's a higher ghrelin response. We're just typically hungrier than most individuals, right? There's absolutely an environmental factor of people just not knowing what to eat and probably having a lot of poor food choices around at all times, but there's still probably that genetic factor. And that does play a role. And if you guys feel like you ever have some of those tendencies, but your kid just seems like such a heavy eater for some reason, you can't figure out why, be aware of those things, because then you can be proactive with how you teach them and what you teach them, instead of waiting for your kid to gain a ton of weight and then having them go through all the pain that you went through to figure out how to lose the weight. You can be proactive with these decisions, right? Hey, look, I know just like you, like we can eat, right? So this is what we do to make sure we don't overeat, right? That's how this stuff can empower you guys. Yeah, that's all I got. Do you guys have any questions outside of just genetics, but over workouts, over your own personal workouts? Any other personal questions? Awesome. Fantastic, guys. All right. I think that's a good way to wrap up this conversation. Guys, thank you all for being here. You guys rock. Have an amazing rest of your day. Crush your cold exposure challenges.
Thanks, Gabe. Good stuff.
Take care, y'all.
See ya.